But having said this, for many individuals who are willing to inquire, who are willing to understand, who are willing to put in a little bit of effort, it opens up a whole new world of possibilities. For individuals who are wanting to understand life experientially, engage with it experientially, go beyond their pain, go beyond their suffering, go beyond their fears, practically solve their problems of life. There are a lot of individuals who are looking for solutions outside of the religious framework. We know this. They look to science. They look to individuals who can offer them guidance. They know their religion has failed them. They've tried it and they don't want to go back. To all those individuals, consciousness will open up a whole new world of possibilities. For the first time, they can actually systematically, step by step, understand what's happening within them. In fact, for the first time, they will know that this inside is real. Up until now, it was purely a speculative idea. We talk about the inside, meditation talks about it, religion talks about it, but we are never sure about this inside unless one has gone through the inward journey, spent enough time in meditation. They will have no conception of this inside, because all our theories, all our explanations of the human body, we have created our explanations in deep unawareness of this inside. Hence, however you study the human mechanism, this inside is missing. Think about it. Body itself is an actualized thought. Thought is primary. Body comes later. But so far, we have understood it in reverse. We see body as primary, and then we say there is a brain, and it is generating thoughts. Now that skews our understanding completely. It makes it so hard for an intellectual, scientifically minded individual to take meditation seriously. Because what is it that I am doing? How does it connect? Hence, we start searching for ways to explain how meditation affects the brain, how it helps with stress, how it helps our immune system. Still, the assumption is the body is fundamental. Physicality is fundamental. Once that is clarified, scientifically, as a principle, once we understand that it is not the body that is generating thoughts, it is not the body that is generating consciousness, it's exactly the other way around. There is a higher dimensional consciousness which is the only thing that is. All individual creatures of existence, all 8 billion of us, are altered states in consciousness. Each one of us is experiencing our own slightly altered way of connecting with consciousness. But the consciousness itself is not restricted to the body, is not restricted to the brain, which means the I amness, the beingness that I'm experiencing is the same to all the creatures of existence. From consciousness, there is attachment to thoughts, and when thoughts are actualized, there is the body. If this is established as a scientific principle, then it becomes inevitable that we put meditation at the top of our learning experience. It becomes the most important branch of learning. because it helps us to subjectively connect with this insight. For the first time, we will know what is it that we are doing with meditation. What happens when we sit and close our eyes? What happens when we try to watch our thoughts? We will not bring in this unnecessary conflict that I'm just wasting my time because I'm just a body and there is my brain and there are thoughts. Now, how much can I calm this brain down? We will completely remove this huge roadblock that is sitting in our path and inquire as expressions of consciousness. Now, once we realize that consciousness has no form, it is the purest state of being, then we can compare our state to that state. Now, why do we say that we are an altered state? It's because consciousness is always filtered through our thoughts. We never experience consciousness as it is. That itself will put us in the right direction. Yes, we will continue to do the things we are doing. Religion will be there, scientific inquiry will be there, we will continue to search for aliens, we'll continue to look to expand beyond our planet. We are adventurers, we'll continue to do it. But there will also be individuals who will be scientifically, experientially awakening to their own nature. Individuals who will understand the nature of reality intellectually to such an extent that they'll say, I will make it my purpose to know who I am experientially. If I am consciousness, I want to know what this consciousness is. At least we'll be able to accept that choice of an individual. Up until now, we have not accepted that choice. We've actually ridiculed individuals who don't do things on the outside, who isolate themselves, spend time trying to connect with their own inside. This has happened for thousands of years. Christianity's primary crusade was against these individual spiritual mystical practices that it could not understand. Groups that were trying to understand the nature of reality, the nature of being, the nature of aliveness for themselves. Christianity wanted one blanket understanding to be accepted. It will no longer be possible because scientifically we will know that this blanket understanding is wrong. It is plain, outright wrong. Because now we have something to compare it with. Without consciousness being accepted as a scientific fact, we'll never be able to truly question religious beliefs because we don't have alternatives. People are still afraid of death. The dominant force is fear of death. Without providing a solution to how to deal with this problem, we cannot criticize religion. And it is of no use. Science has been criticizing religion for hundreds of years, but it has not come anywhere close to even making a dent in the religious thinking because there is no alternative, there's no solution. That is what consciousness will change. It will take time, but it will eventually seep into our daily language. As of now, the language we are using is a model. It's not a representation of reality. because it's a model that we have created for ourselves to explain things, it leaves out life, it leaves out death, it leaves out the individual. When science is able to use such a language that brings in the individual, where a common man can understand what we are talking about. Think about it. How many people understand quantum mechanics in the world? And if you try to explain quantum mechanics, let's say you go into the church and say, no, we have experimentally proven this. Whatever you're believing is wrong because quantum mechanics says this, quantum mechanics says that. They'll be like, just do something else. Because the language is so cryptic, it is so detached from life, it is so detached from human experiences. What consciousness will do is, it'll bridge that gap. Consciousness will say, yes, it is a quantum mechanical process through which the body is being actualized. We were just using a language in a certain way because we didn't know it was consciousness. Now that we know it's consciousness, we can simplify the language. We can say it is just consciousness, an excited state of consciousness thoughts, and when consciousness watches a particular moment of excitement, that is the actualized state. So what you're experiencing every moment is one complete representation of thoughts. Each moment you are engaging with the world of your thoughts. That's about it. Physicality is a perception. Body is a perceptual reality. The existential reality is consciousness. This is not hard to understand. We are not using complicated terminologies. We're not saying collapse of the wave function, the observer effect. We are using language that common man can understand. Now that will be the triumph of science. Up until now, the language of science has still been a language for the few, not for the many. Because something fundamental was missing in our understanding. We needed a higher, grander, broader framework that can connect all our hundreds of years of inquiry into the nature of things, put it all together. Now, as with anything, when you truly understand something, when you start putting the pieces together, they get enormously simplified. And this is a natural process. It's only when we don't understand something fully that it remains complicated. We know this. When we truly understand something, things automatically simplify. Take driving, for example. When you don't know how to drive, and when you are sitting and learning about driving in a classroom, it is an extraordinarily complex process. Sometimes it is hard to even believe that you can actually drive. You have to remember so many things. And if you forget one thing at the right time, the consequences, it can even lead to your death. And yet, after practicing for a while, a day will come when you are not even aware of this complex process. Driving itself is extraordinarily simple. What happened to all that complexity? It's because now you know how to drive, the complexity disappears. In exactly the same way, for hundreds of years, we've been trying to understand the nature of reality using complex theories, complex mathematics, bringing in time, connecting, because we did not know what was the main connecting factor. So all our theories and everything were complicated. Hence, it left out a huge chunk of people. With consciousness, our language will get simplified. the language of science will be the language of life. Now look into the future. Imagine waking up in a world where science is not this extraordinarily intellectual, restricted domain where you have to go and study in a classroom. The language of science is the language of life. Words like actualization, thoughts, consciousness are used so intuitively. Now, in that world, as an individual, you will have more choices to directly engage with consciousness.